Now let's come to the documentation. Which are the documentation required? After the functions, why it is required, we have to know what are the documents required. What are the documents required? So it is, we cannot decide the documents. The documents already has been decided by the aligned documentation system. In case of the foreign trade, we have to follow, we have to maintain all those documents which has been prescribed in ADS. Most important terms, ADS, Aligned Documentation System, 1991. There is a system which has been introduced, the committee called ADS, Aligned Documentation System, in 1991. And in case of each and every foreign trade, they have to maintain the rules and policies and the formations given by ADS 1991. It is implemented in case of each and every foreign trade, whether it is export or import. Now, according to the Aligned Documentation System 1991, there are 10 documents. Fixed 10 documents are there which has to be maintained at the time of foreign trade. These are the 10 documents which we have to maintain for foreign trade compulsorily. This document will come, and one by one we have to study this document separately, because each and every document has their own objective, their own functions, their own use. So we have to know which is required for what purpose. What are the advantages? What are the functions of all these documents in case of foreign trade? The 10 documents which is required, the first is commercial invoice, second is bill of lading, third airway bill or consignment note, fourth marine insurance policy, fifth bill of exchange, sixth is the consumer invoice, seventh customs invoice, eight certificate of origin, 9 inspection certificate, 10 packing list. So ultimately whenever the packing comes, everything will be over, finished. But the process starts from commercial invoice. It will start from commercial invoice. So what is an invoice? Invoice is nothing but it is a document in between the seller and the shipment, the invoice. In invoice, detail of the material, detail of the product has been given. There is a format for invoice. Invoice is a piece of paper where the description of the material is written. Description, it's a normal case. Here the description of the material you will get. This is a normal piece of paper where only the description of the material is given, and it should be in between two parties, the seller as well as the shipping company, shipping agency, whatever it is with the shipments, he has to prepare this documents where all about the material, all about the product has been mentioned clearly. Mostly in invoice, it has been mentioned that what are the goods they are sending. What are the goods? What is the quantity of the goods? Description of the goods, quantity of the goods, date of sending the goods, then receiving the goods, signature of the seller, or shipment also, the signature should be there. Shipment signatures, he shall have to accept the goods. That is also most essential. So in invoice, everything has been written properly about the goods. One by one, we will study commercial invoice, bill of lading, airways separately. But the overview, bill of lading, again it comes bill of lading. In bill of lading, not only the description of the goods, but also the agreement between the two persons also has been written properly. Here only the quantity and the what are the goods that is only described. But bill of lading, it's a bill. Bill means the amount, where the amount is properly written, whether advance received or not, whether when they will pay. If it is paid, then the paid amount you have to write down. If it is not paid, when to pay. All these things will be there in bill of lading. This way, one by one, I will discuss with you different documentation. When we say about the documentations, there are two type of documentation mostly. One is standardized documentation, list of standardized important documentation. And another is regulatory documentation. This is regulatory documentation. So one is standardized documentation, another is regulatory documentation. That means the documentation is divided into two parts. Okay, so standardized documentations I have already discussed with you. One by one, we will discuss later on. Before that, let me come to the point regulatory documentations. So these are the few points, the four documentation for the regulatory documentation. For standardized documentations, we have to go through 10 different documentation. But in case of regulatory documentations, we have to go through only four documentation. So what are the four documentation? Shipping bill is there, number one. Number two is exchange control declaration. Number three is export application, doc challan or port trust copy of shipping bill. And the fourth is receipts and payments of port charges. That means in case of the regulatory documentations, all documentations are relates with the shipping department, not with rest of the departments. In case of standardized documentations, we have to include everything, the exporters, importers, shipping, everything. But in case of here in the regulatory documentation, we just have to we just have to involve all those documents which are related with the shipping department. Shipping department. Here, if you notice, you can see the each and every documents which is given here is relates with the shipping department. First is shipping bill. So at the time of shipping from one place to another, there should be a bill where it is written the conditions between the seller and shipping departments. So whatever the agreement in between these two parties, the payment mode and everything, the how they will carry, what they will carry, at within what timing they can deliver the goods, all these will be there in the shipping bill. In bill, definitely about the description of the goods is given. Then exchange control declaration, which is most important because there is an authority of exchange bureau is there who shall have to give the authority to transport the goods from one place to another. Without their authority, without their declarations, they cannot send the goods from one place to the another place. So this authority or the declaration they should get. And for that purpose, this declaration or for the authorities, there should be a documentation in between the parties. Export application or dock challan. And dock challan, these are the things for shipping only. So in this case, the dock challan, there is a charge for transportation, for sending it through the dock, for sending it through the cargo. One charge, one amount you have to bear. That amount is known as export application dock challan, where the amount, the total amount is written, how much they will charge for transferring the goods from one place to another. Even if here also, if we want to send certain goods from one place to another, we have to pay a charge. In case of online shopping also, if I take an example of Amazon, if I take an example of Flipkart, Meso, whatever it is, what we have to do, along with the product price, we have to pay a delivery charge. where it has been mentioned. That means this is the shipping charge, what we have to pay. Same way in case of here, this is a big short, big goods we are sending from one place to another. Dock comes in the ship, and most of the big things exporting, always export takes place in ship, where we have to pay a charge, extra charge, apart from the material charge, apart from the product value. Whatever the value we have to give to that department, shipping department, as a dock using that area, that charge for that challan, we have to mention the amount. That is known as export application dock charge or port trust. There is a port. Okay. The ship is there. Ship is there. They're loading our goods. So for this port, wherever the port is there, we have to pay the amount of money, and lot of formalities are there. So these charges we have to enter in a challan, and that is also a document, which is known as actually shipping bill, which is known as actually shipping bill. The last one is receipts and payments of the port charges. So there is a process, it's a process of receipts and payments. The amount we will receive, then amount we have to pay. So the entire challan, entire charges of the receipts and payments also we have to make a documents. Ultimately, it is nothing but preparing the documents, preparing an informations in a piece of paper or electronic mode, whichever is convenient, and we have to place it in front of the shipping department, in front of the seller, in front of the buyer, so that the entire process should be clear. So that is why these are the documents we have to maintain. This is all about the documentation which are required. So now one by one we have to go through it so that we come to know what are the features comes here, what are the functions of each and every documentations. So this is all about the regulatory documentation. This is not very important to learn one by one. This is just an informations we have to provide, but standardized documentations are very important to know one by one. Their functions, mostly their functions and informations they are providing. Now, one by one, let me go through all the documentations required.